Another way that I like to help out my front-end user when it comes to entering in data is to shorten their work. For example, I allow them to enter in the department code, not the full name for the department. That's fine and dandy until I get a new employee who doesn't understand what TR is. So what I can do to help that person out is I can convert this field into a lookup field, where if they don't understand the code or they don't have it memorized, they can click on a little drop-down arrow here when they click in this field, and it will open up into a combo box-like format where it will display all the codes over on the left-hand side and their corresponding full names to the right for each code. So I want to be able to look this department up, the code, in the departments table. When I double-click, there's the code, and it will bring back the full name. So we can say, okay, this one's in the accounting department. Oh, there's the code AC. Now I know what it means. Now I want you to know before I proceed with this is that these two tables are not related. As you recall, up here on the Database Tools tab, click on Relationships. There's the two relationships one-to-one, but departments isn't linked up or hooked up to the department table yet. Now I could go ahead and do it now, but I want to show you what it looks like when I try to connect with another table that isn't related. And it will give me that option to go ahead and create that relationship when I'm doing a Lookup Wizard, because I'm saying go ahead and with the fields that are already listed in the payroll table, look it up in this table, okay? And to do that, they have to be linked. So let me go ahead and close out. Close out of the departments table, and let's right-click and go to the design view. Okay, we're looking at the department field. We're changing the data type from a simple text to, click on the drop-down arrow, wait for it, Lookup Wizard. Go ahead and click on it. It opens it up and it says, okay, how do you want your lookup fields to get its values? You can either type it in or you can look it up in another table, but remember, my tables are not related, but it's got a fix for it, and I'll show you that. I recommend that you actually fix it before you do this. So if I go ahead and select I want to type in the values that I want, and I click Next, and I come in here and I say, okay, it's going to be accounting. When I start typing in the values, the problem with that is that when I select the accounting there, when it gives me the drop-down list and it has accounting, it will replace the code AC with accounting, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and click back and say I want to look it up in another table which has both the code and its full name, and I want to display both of those, not in the field, just display it when they look it up so they can compare the code with the full name, and then choose the code, and only the code will display. So we'll click Next. The departments table is the table that's going to provide the values that I want. Click Next. And then it says select the fields that you like displayed in that combo box or lookup. I want both. I want to see the code and its corresponding name. Click Next. And do you want to sort these in the list box? Well, in this case it's also known as the combo box. Let's go ahead and click on the drop down arrow and say we want to see it sorted by department code ascending A to Z. Click on it, or descending Z to A. Let's go back to ascending. Click Next. And it says how would you like the columns in your lookup field? In other words, when I click on that drop down arrow, do I just want to see the name? No, I also want to see its corresponding code. How do I see it? Well, right now it's being hidden. It says, look, we recommend that you hide the key column. In other words, when I uncheck it, this is the field that has the primary key assigned to it. But when I click on the drop-down arrow, I want to see the code and its name. So when I'm thinking, okay, this person belongs in the administration department, let me click on the drop-down arrow. Well, I can see administration. What's the code? AD. And I can start memorizing them. So I don't have to click on the drop-down arrow. I can just type in AD if they belong in the administration department. Okay. Now, if the fields in here are a little bit longer than the column, then hover over the upper right-hand side of that column next to the column name until your pointer turns into arrows pointing in opposite directions. Then double-click really fast, or of course you can click and drag. Double-click to do a best fit. Double-click. Okay. Click Next. And then it says when you select a row in the lookup field, you can store a value from that row in your database, or you can use that value later to perform an action. So it says choose a field that uniquely identifies the row. Well, between these two, which one has the primary key? Because the primary key is going to be unique, right? Well, it's the department code. So I would say almost all the time, if not all the time, choose the field that has the primary key, and then click Next. And then it says what label would you like for your lookup field? It's going to be department code. Now down here it displays this because, again, my tables weren't related. So it says, do you want to enable data integrity between these tables? It's going to create a link between those two tables, but as you recall in our relationships training video, unless we go ahead and enable data integrity, what I do in one won't update and relate to the other. So I can make changes in one and it won't update the corresponding table or related table, which could give us data integrity issues. So if I check it, then I can go ahead and say, okay, let's also allow for deletions. So what I delete in one table will delete its corresponding record in the other table. So if I delete a department, it will delete everything that it's tied to in the payroll table. Now if I uncheck it, it gives me the other option. It says, do you want to store multiple values for this lookup field? So I can go ahead and select that this employee belongs to 2 or more departments, which wouldn't make sense. So I may want to go ahead and enable the data integrity and allow for deletions, and then go ahead and click Finish. And then it says, okay, be sure to save before this relationship can be created. So when I click Yes, is the relationship created? I don't know. Let's go take a look. Click on the Database Tools. Click on Relationships. Well, there it is. 1 department to, well, many employees. In other words, you can have more than 1 employee belong to 1 department. So there's where it becomes a one-to-many relationship. Okay. Let me go ahead and close out. Let's go ahead and switch views. Click on the View button. Come over here and I'm like, okay, I'm entering in a new employee. Well, I could come down here and click in it. Click on the drop-down arrow. And let's see, they belong to the marketing. So that's helpful because before, what's the code for marketing? Well, there it is, marketing, and then there's the code, MK. So I can go ahead and select this line item and it enters in the code. Really nice. Let me hit the escape key so it doesn't save the record. And I can also come in here, click in that field, and it displays it as well. Now we can customize this a bit more. In other words, I can add headings for both columns here. So this says the code and that says the department name. Let me go ahead and hit the escape key, come up here, switch views to design view. Make sure that you have the field selected. Now notice how it says the data type is still text. I know it says that, but we changed it to lookup. Why doesn't it say lookup? Well, that's something that Access has chosen to go ahead and display that there, but it is a lookup field. How do I know? We'll come down here and click on the Lookup tab, and there it is. It's a combo box display control. If it was just a regular text field, then let me click in here, click on the drop-down arrow, it would say text, okay? Let me hit the escape key so I don't make any changes there. So even though it says text field, if you're really curious to find out if it really is a text field and not a lookup field, then come here and click on the Lookup tab. It is a lookup field, it's a combo box, and wow, there's the code. You can see here where it says column heads is no, double click and change it to yes, so you can see the headings for each of the columns. And then the column width, as you recall the first column there, the code was about yay big. Well, it's about a little bit more than 1/2 inch. And this is, well, 3/4 of an inch. If you want to go ahead and increase that and come in here, let's do 1 inch. Hit the tab key to make sure it's okay with it. And let's go take it for a test drive. Come up here, click on the View button. Be sure to save it. Say yes. And then it gives me a warning that things have changed since the last time I opened it, either by another user or because another instance of it was opened on my machine. Do you want to replace the changes that you or another user made? I'll say yes. Let's go ahead and click in the field, click in the drop-down arrow. There it is, department code. There's the column headings. And then I open this up more. It doesn't actually expand it. It just gives me the scroll so I can go over and I can see the rest of it. So that field is about 1 inch long. Okay. Otherwise, it did give me the scroll, as you recall, before I changed it and made this from about, well, 0.8 of an inch to 1 inch. And then, of course, if you don't want the code column showing, you can come back here to the design view. Again, select the field and its corresponding field property. The Lookup tab here is where we're going. And then we've got the column width, which is at just over 1/2 inch. I could type in 0, so the code doesn't show, and then go ahead and click on the View button, say yes. So when I click on the drop-down arrow, you can see the code is now not showing. We're just looking it up by full name here. When I hit the escape key, if I type in SL and hit the tab key, it no longer works. Hit the escape key a couple of times so I don't make any changes there, which defeats the purpose for me having them enter in the code here. So nonetheless, I want to show you in case if you want to make some changes there just on the fly. And we'll go back to about 0.6 inches. Click View, Save. There we go. We're back to where we started. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.